everybody, it's me Stacy here at Scrapbooking Made Simple, scrapbookingmadesimple.com, and it is time for our next Saturday with Stacy YouTube class number 380. And if there was ever a time where you really questioned, are these real classes? This is the, at least when you're watching my YouTubes, this is the time where you will know for sure. These are classes. What I have for you today is from Spellbinders and Becca Feeken. And you may know her as Amazing Paper Grace. She's a blogger, she's a designer, she's a licensed designer for Spellbinders, and her dies tend to be a little bit extra. They've always got some twist or turn or tweak or something about them that just makes them a little extra. Well, I have my hands on a brand new set that she has done, and I can't wait to share it with you, but it definitely is a little woohoo. I'll get to that in a minute. Before we get any further, I'm going to do Winner Winner Chicken Dinner, and I'm going to want to tell you that this is a YouTube where notes may be important to you. Yes, you can always refer back to this YouTube class, and yes, if you place an order with us, in the note section of your order, you can jot down, you can type in for YouTube number 380, and that way when you get your products, you'll know what YouTube to go and watch. But notes may be an important thing. So I am going to put on my pause face really quickly so you can go grab a piece of paper and a pencil and take notes. And the reason I do a pause face is because I don't want to have my eyelids halfway down when you decide to pause me. So here it is. Here's my pause face. Go. Yep, I'm still here. No blinking. All right, pause face done. Now it is a technique-based YouTube. There's die cutting. In fact, that's about all we're going to be doing is die cutting in this class today. But there are reasons for doing what we're going to do. I'm going to announce our Winner Winner Chicken Dinner, and I also want to tell you that the last palette from Ellison Sizzix has arrived, and that was for our anniversary sale. So all product is here now for our anniversary sale. Woo! It's going to take us, the palette was like 4.5 by 4.5 by 6 feet, I want to say. It's going to take us about a week to undo the palette and put everything away. About a week. And you're like, why does it take a week to unload a palette? Because I only have one person who can unload the palette. It's like, unload a palette, ship your orders. Unload a pallet, ship your orders. So instead of pulling somebody who could help unload the pallet because she's shipping, I only have one person doing the pallet. That's all. We're very skeleton crew here. So just as soon as it is all unloaded and put away, I will let you know that we'll be starting with the first 200 orders from our warehouse sale. Also, the orders placed here in 2021, we're going to do our best to adhere to our standard shipping time frame, which means that older YouTubes are going to play catch up. So we're going to be shipping current YouTubes and older YouTubes at the exact same time. And eventually the older YouTubes will catch up with the current one and everybody will just jump forward. So that's the game plan. So if there's something here that you like that you want to order, know that the goal is to have it to you within our normal standard shipping time frame. And that's a Wahoo Kachoo also. Okay, Winner Winner Chicken Dinner. We've got two of them. Let me put my glasses on. First one, which was from 379, which was Learn the ABCs of Pigment Ink, that Alidine pigment-based Eyes Ink ink, and the stamp, the embossing powder from Spellbinders, and using my foiling, cut and foil dies to ink and run through your Big Shot machine. It was a lot of fun. I hope you all had a good time with it. We have two winners who put a guess as to what's in my mom's safety deposit box. And I don't know yet. It'll probably be another maybe 2 or 3 weeks before it's all settled and I can get in there. But it's a surprise. And I think it's going to be a Geraldo Rivera. Open it up and there'll be a poof of dust that comes up. But some of you had some very funny guesses. And as soon as I know what's in it, you'll know what's in it. Our first winner is Lily. Hello, Lily. Lily Taylor. Wow, congratulations, Lily. You have won a $25 gift card to Scrapbooking Made Simple, but you are not alone. We always have 2 winners. Our next winner chicken dinner is, Jeanette. Jeanette Gatorworth. Oh, I'm going to go with it. Jeanette Gatorworth, is that you? Because if it is, congratulations. You also are a winner chicken dinner here at Scrapbooking Made Simple and have won a $25 gift card that with any luck is already in your account. So spend it on whatever makes your heart happy. Now, we also have to do our winner chicken dinner dance for you because, well, yeah, that's important. So are you ready? You're a winner, chicken dinner. You're a winner, chicken dinner. Wahoo, ka-choo for you. Congratulations, girls. How do you claim your prize? Do nothing. Like I said, it's already in your account. Fingers crossed. And if you want an opportunity to be a winner chicken dinner here at Scrapbooking Made Simple, it is so easy. There's a heart somewhere in this general vicinity that says Scrapbook, or it says SMS. All you have to do is run your cursor over it and click subscribe. I am doing my best to get to 100,000 subscribers. Not for me, for my children, my 2 boys. They're teenagers. They want me to get, there's some plaque that you get from YouTube once you get to 100,000 followers. At this rate, it's going to take 2 more years, but that's okay. Slow and steady wins the race, right? That's my feeling. Okay, so Jeanette and Lily, congratulations to you. I hope you enjoy whatever happiness you order with that $25. Now today is a YouTube that is definitely a technique-based YouTube. It is not hard. It's not hard at all. It is there are steps that need to be followed. Now, when these products came to me and I sat down with them, I didn't want any instruction. I didn't want any help. I just wanted to see if I could figure them out on my own. And as I'm working with it and I'm working with it and I'm like, I realized that there are some times in life where directions and following the steps are important, and other times, well, you can kind of fudge along. And when I was doing this, it really made me think of my mom and when I was about, I couldn't be much more than 8 years old. I really couldn't have been much more than 8. So my brothers and sisters are much older than I am. I have 2 sisters and a brother, and they're very close. They're within 3 years of each other, and actually some of them, I think my 2 sisters are less than a year apart. But what do they call that? Irish triplets? I don't know if that's what they call it or not. But my brothers and sisters are very close together in age, and then I came way later. And in my family, my mom was a baker, and my sister Stephanie. So there's Denise, Stephanie, Darren. Stephanie was the baker in my family, and she would make cookies and cakes all the time. I mean, yum. And I was just a little girl. And so by the time I was about 8, she was out of the house. She had graduated high school. She was at UCLA. She was in college doing her thing, and we didn't see her very often. Unfortunately, I have pretty much lost touch with my brothers and sisters. They walked away a long time ago from my mom, dad, and myself, and that's okay. I've made amends with it. But when I was growing up, I remember Stephanie always baking and having treats in the house for us. And I vividly recall a time when I was about 8 years old, and I told my mom, I said, Mom, I want to make cookies, because Stephanie was gone, so there was no cookies in the house. Nobody was there to bake. I said, I want to make chocolate chip cookies. And my mom said, absolutely, you can make chocolate chip cookies. And so she got down the mixing bowls, and she got out the sugar and the salt and the baking powder and the flour and the eggs. And she sat there and she supervised the whole thing and let me have at it. So me in my I can do this 8-year-old self didn't really pay too much attention to the directions at all. So, and baking is a precise science. It really is. There's a science to baking. It's not like making spaghetti sauce where you can throw a little bit of this in and a dash of that in and a little, you can finagle it into what you want. Baking, you have to play by the rules. There is a reason why you need this much of that and that much of this, and So I mixed everything in, and I did my eggs and everything, and she let me use the mixer. She stood right there, but I was allowed to use the mixer. And every now and then she would kind of go, Now, again, in my little I know everything 8-year-old self, and I can do this, I'm a big girl now, I didn't pay any attention to her. Are you sure? I said, I just kept doing my thing. So we scooped them all out onto the baking sheet, and I didn't. So and we put them in the oven and we let them bake. Pulled them on out, and they looked okay, kind of. And I didn't grease the baking sheet, so we scraped them off. That was one of hers. Because I didn't want any help. She offered, but I was like, I can do this, and I've got this, and I'm a big girl mom. And so then I took a bite of one of my cookies. Yeah, no. No, they were really bad. Sugar, salt, kind of look the same, but don't do the same thing. It was at that time that, in my process of working with Becca's dies, that I realized, it was at that time in my life that I realized I'm not a baker. I'm a let's make some soup and we'll throw a little this in, and I'm a little throw it in kind of girl. And I realized it literally at 8 that this is not for me. I'm not a rule. I don't follow directions as best as I should. But with Becca's dies, it was also when I was working with them that I realized this is the time where you need to follow. There's steps, and those steps are there for a reason. And Becca has been so thoughtful in how she's designed these dies. She's given you little guides and help, little tips on how, okay, put this there and do that there. And I'm hoping that with this YouTube, I'm able to maybe throw a few little Stacy tips in here as well. There was a thought, I really thought to myself, should I even do this class? Because I love the die. I love it. I do. But do I let the designer do the YouTube? And because it is an interactive die and it is a 3-dimensional die, should I let her do this? I mean, she is bringing out her own YouTube for this, but I don't want to step on any toes. But then I thought to myself, well, Becca does it her way, and I'm going to do it my way, and maybe you can take the best of both videos and incorporate it so that you do it your way. I think that's probably, what my mom let me do it my way, even though she offered to help to do it her way. And I think it definitely was one of those teachable moments where it was like, and I was so disappointed in my cookies. And my mom, she didn't make a big fuss over it. She didn't say, now I told you. She didn't do no wagging of the finger. She just looked at me and said, my mom could say so much in saying nothing at all. Truly, she could say everything she wanted to say without saying anything. So today I'm hoping that you stay with me, that you follow along, that you see Becca's dies from Spellbinders are something that are a little bit of magic wrapped up into 2 pieces of 8.5 by 11 cardstock and about 5 dies to cut. That's it. I want to say there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of tape. That's it. That's all you've got to work with. And you're going to make something fabulous. So I'm going to tilt down. We're going to get started for today. And to, maybe I'll go home and make a batch of chocolate chip cookies and actually follow the directions from start to finish. Who knows? Wonders never cease. I think Mr. SMS will wonder who took over his wife's body. But hey, you never know. All right, so I'm going to tilt down. We're going to get started for today. And I hope you enjoy Becca's dies from Spellbinders. It's a wonderful collection, and what you will be able to do with them is just beautiful if you follow the directions. Okay, down we go. Bye. Now, if Becca's watching this, she's probably saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this lady is talking all this about my die set. Well, you know, I just want to make sure everybody's got a kind of an understanding of what we're going to be doing. Okay, so you have to set it down straight, that's for sure. Hello. Was the build-up worth it? How cute is this, right? This is an interactive die. Has to be built. Not hard to build. Like I said, I think we're talking about 2 pieces of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, about 5 die cuts, and it's darling. And it's simple to do. So effective. You have to stand it up, that's for sure. It slides better when you stand it up versus trying to do it while I'm holding it in the air, because paper, you know, paper twists. So when you've got it on a base, it slides so much better. But it's just darling. Now, if you are not an interactive die cutter and you're not wanting to do and look at it, does it folds completely flat. Look at that, so you can mail it, right? Wahoo kachoo. If you are not a die cutter like, oh yeah, well, I want to do that. Well, I don't know why you wouldn't be, but okay, what about, hey girl, hey, how cute is this? Go ahead, craft on and carry on. The bicycle that's in here and the carry on is also part of her die. So if you are not into let's make the interactive die and you just want to make cards, well, that's okay. I've got great samples for you. But today the whole goal is to get you so comfortable in doing this. Looks complicated. It is not. Let's get started. Okay, so the best place to start is at the beginning. And when you're baking, or cooking, the best place to start is to have everything laid out for you before you start mixing everything together. Have it all laid out in front of you. And that's kind of what you need to do with this die. It is hard to believe, but this is the die that is going to make this for you. This is the set. I think if you were looking at this in your local independent craft store, paper crafting store, scrapbooking store, you might pass it on by because it really, it doesn't give you any good idea of what it is. The picture up here, it's very hard to see what you're going to make from this. But, gosh, hello. So, you need to start at the beginning with this die, and for me to do that, I'm going to take it apart, and we're not going to die cut anything at first. We're going to work with the die and to show you how to use it the best, how to make it the easiest, how to be most successful with it. And by getting all of our ducks in a row before we start cutting anything, well, at the end, there's going to be a big old, it's like having a package with a big old bow wrapped around it. Because there is an order to this, and there is a process to this, and we just have to give in and give over to the process. And remember, it's 2 sheets of 8.5 by 11 paper, about 5 die cuts, and maybe 6 pieces of tape. We can do this. Let's make it simple. Let's even bring it down so that it's uber easy. The first die is your main die, and this die is what's going to cut the front and the back, so the top piece and the back piece, to your 3-dimensional shadow box slide window. First die. The second die is right here. This is what fits into your main die. That's just going to cut that rectangle. This is going to allow you to cut your window out. And that is the piece, the front of to give you your window. So these 2 dies work together. And before I cut them, I want to show you that on the die, on the big die, and let me see if I can get a piece of paper behind it. On the big die, they've put 4 little score lines. I don't know, it's right there. I don't know if you can see it. There's a little score line there and a little score line over here and one at the top. Now Becca put these in and one at the side. So you have a score line 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not going to cut into the paper. It's not even really going to leave a mark. But those little 4 score lines become very important in your laying out of the window die. What can you see about this window die that's a little different? Well, it has these little notches in them. See the little notches? They're like little arrows, and that's exactly what they're meant to be. Becca has thought about, okay, how can we help a crafter line this up so that when they die cut it, the window is pretty centered. She's given you the score line that correlates with the little notchy pointing up. You've got a score line and a notchy pointing out, a score line, a notchy pointing down, and a score line and a notchy pointing out. This is going to help you guide yourself to make that window. So that is the first 2 cuts that I'm going to make. When Spellbinders was designing these dies, it's my thought that they wanted you to cut them. Now I've had trouble with my camera. We'll have to see if I get any, because I might. I think their intent was for you to die cut these facing up. That way you could line up your little notches with the die, because you can see your score lines and you can see the notch pointing out, and you're going to line it up with your score line. The notch pointing out, and you're going to line it up with your score line. So my thought is they had intended for you to put the paper on top and cut with the die, the ridges facing up. I'm working on a magnetic platform today from Ellison. And a magnetic platform is a beautiful little tool. However, it is not included with the machine. It runs about $39.99, but it makes your life a lot easier when you need to line things up and cut them, because the dies, obviously, being that they are metal on a magnet, they don't move. So you're able to line things up much easier. What if you don't have this magnetic platform? What if that's not in your arsenal of goodies at home? And maybe you'd rather have the dies today than you would the magnetic platform. That was my thought process when looking at these. So I thought, okay, for most people, it will be easier to cut down if they don't have a magnetic platform. Let me grab a piece of paper. Is that going to fit? Oh, it will. So if I was cutting up, I'd have my dies, I'd have my platform, my do not cut plate, my dies with the ridges facing up, all centered where I want them to be, and then I'd put my paper down, and then I'd put my cut plate over the top of it. And I would hope that my paper doesn't move. That's the idea. Now, being that I'm working with just plain cardstock, if it shims a little bit, if it moves a little bit, as long as it doesn't go below any of the cut lines, I'm fine. But if I was using specific paper where I wanted to be very careful where I was cutting, I wanted a specific frame around it or a specific pattern, well, cutting this way can be a little difficult because you don't see what you're going to cut. You don't know if something has slightly shifted. So I thought, what if you cut down into this die? And we did this. Now you can be very clear what you're cutting. You can see right away if there was pattern and you missed the pattern, you could move the die over. You can easily see what it is you've got in front of you. The only problem is those little score lines that she put in to help you line everything up are gone because they're on the underneath side. So I thought, what if we just took a Sharpie marker and I found one of those score lines, I looked at it, and I kind of went zoop around the backside. And I made a little line. just with a black Sharpie marker. It eventually will wear off, but it will also then, you can just remark them. What if I just made a little line where those score lines are in case I wanted to cut down? That looks about good. And that looks about good. Okay, I've got my 4 little black lines, and now I can easily again, oh, no, I didn't draw on my paper, good. Now I can easily again line up the little guides that she's given you so that my window is as centered as I can make it. And I'm seeing what I'm cutting. Oh, that looks a little off. So move that over. I can see what I'm cutting. And to me, that's most important. I'm comfortable this way, seeing what I've got going. Now, to make the top and bottom, I need to cut this twice. So let's go ahead and cut our first 2 cuts. And I'm just gonna send this through. This is gonna be the back. Okay, done. So this is going to make the back panel of that cute little slide box 3-dimensional piece of happiness and crafting. But I also need to cut that top piece with the window. And like I said, we're only going to be using 2 pieces of cardstock, and this is 8.5 by 11. If you're using 12 by 12 cardstock, that's fine. You're just going to have lots left over, but these 2 pieces would make up my 8.5 by 11. And I'm going to put it back down, and this is the time I am going to put my window in there. And let's get my window in there. So I'm just gonna line it up, kind of eyeball it. You've got your guides to give you some help. Put my do not cut plate on, and let's send it on through my machine. And this is going to cut the front piece with my opening. So nothing difficult here. You've done frames before. And if you're a new die cutter, well, this is a die cutting machine, and these little metal pieces magically cut paper into the most amazing shapes. So let's see. Okay, look at that. I've got a front and a back. Wahoo kachoo, right? I'm gonna put these to the side, and I'm gonna put these to the side because I'm done with those. I don't need to do anything more with them. Now I'm gonna come back to my die, and we're gonna look at the next few pieces. So here, you've got these pieces built in here. These are little perforated dies. They don't cut anything. They put the little dot, 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 so you can perforate something or fold it easier, score it so you can move it easier. You would think because they're sitting inside this big die here that they would do something with this die, but they don't have anything to do with this rectangle die at all. When Becca was putting this collection together, she really was limited by how much metal space she had. She only had a piece of metal so big, and she had to get everything she needed into that space to make this work. So she tucked things in, and she wedged things on. She did have extra room to give you a banner there. But when you're looking at it, these 2 dies right here don't have anything to do with the die that they're inside of. Not at all. I know, crazy, right? This is the next big die that we're going to play with. And can you see it's got 2 little notches at the top and at the bottom? 2 little notches. Now I'm going to take this die and I'm going to put it face down. So my smooth side is on top. I don't want my ridges on top. I want my smooth side on top. And I'm going to take the dies out of here and put them in this die. And then we're going to tape them all together so that instead of having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different dies that we have to cut multiple times, we're going to make this into a complete unit. Just one die by taping it all together so that you only have to cut 2 pieces. I've got these unique little dotty dies. They're perforations, and amazingly, look at that. They fit right into those notches that Becca has put in there for you so that you know that's where those go. They fit right in. The little tops of them go right into that empty space. Let's see, there, am I good? I can't tell, but anyway, they go right in. So I'm going to take them and tape them into place. And the only time you have to tape is once. We're going to do one taping, and you don't ever have to use your tape, your washi tape again until the tape starts to fray off. You're going to make this die, and gosh, we must have cut at least 50 bases with it, and washi tape was still there. Now, does it have to be exact? Well, you want to be close, but it doesn't have to be exact. Those are just guides. And I am going to take some washi tape. I've got them there. I am going to take some washi tape, and I'm just going to tape them down. And I put a piece of tape on the top. Don't move. Stacy. Put it back. Thank you. Okay, washi tape on the top. And then washi tape on the bottom. So this is where the instructions are so important. By putting things together ahead of time, it creates a whole lot less work. By being organized in the beginning, it creates a whole lot less work for you and far less die cutting. Okay, I've taped them into place. Now I'm just going to trim off my washi tape. Don't worry, I'll be adding more. I'm just going to trim it off. And I'm not going to take this washi tape off ever. The only time I'm going to replace it is when it wears out. Now I've got this little piece right here, this weird little piece that has these 3 little slots. And you can see this one has a small slot and a medium slot and a large slot. It also, those slots can also be taken out of that main die to where you just have empty holes. You want to keep those dies all together. And surprisingly enough, when I pulled this off the liner, the tape that was holding it all together kept it all together for me. Isn't that nice? Now I'm going to put this down, and it fits right in between. Fits right in between our 2 little dashed dies. Look at that. Right there. Right in between. But like I said, there are 3 dies in here that have holes, that have openings. Let me see if I can put it against the red so you can see them. So you've got a small opening, a medium opening, and a large opening. Where these go are important when you're putting it in the main die. So you've got a piece of the die that's huge, big square, and you've got one that's just a little rectangle. Big square, little rectangle. I need you to put the die, the side that has the longest opening, next to the little rectangle. That's where it needs to go, next to the little rectangle. I don't want that long opening next to my big die space there. The long opening needs to go next to my little rectangle. Those 2 are going to be friends. And because my die is face down, my ridges are not face up, I've put this also face down. And now I'm going to tape it into place. You're like, why do you have to tape all this into place? Well, again, she only had so much work, so much metal to work with, and she couldn't get everything to layer into each other without making them individual pieces. So we're just going to make things easier by taping these into place so they don't move. And then we're never going to move them again. Let's see, one. Okay, ready? Yep, good. And let's take another piece and do down here. Ready, set, good. So this is where taking your time in the beginning will make all the difference in the end. I know you just want to throw everything in that pot of spaghetti. I know that. I hear that. I did too. I understand you weren't looking when you picked up the salt instead of the sugar and you mixed it into your cookies. I get it. Been there too. But we have to respect the way the die was manufactured and the way it's meant to work. And by just cementing them all together and then taking off my extra washi tape, we're ensuring ourselves the best possible outcome with the least amount of work. Now, that's all, I'm all about that. If I can get a great outcome, gosh, I don't want to cut each one of these. I don't want to cut a base and then have to cut each one of these individual things out. I want it to cut all in one roll. And by doing this, I've now eliminated 6 steps out of the whole process. At least 6 steps. Yeah. Oh, my die didn't I pull? Oh, I didn't put one at the top. That was not good, Stacy. That was not good. I didn't put one all the way at the top between the two of them. Okay, let's put one at the top. Ready? So, I hadn't put an extra piece here to tie the two together, and it popped off. No big deal. Just add your washi tape and you're good. You know, I guess what's really important is that these classes, my classes aren't edited or scripted or there's no overhead cameras or voice dubbing. Kind of what you see. Well, what you see is what you get. And I want you to see that I may make some mistakes in this. I may have to cut twice. But isn't that the reality for all of us? Isn't there a time where you have to stamp again, or you cut something backwards, or gosh, you've put your card base on upside down? I mean, that's real life. That's real crafting. That's what happens. And it's nice to have a class where everything comes out perfect the first time. But is that really the truthful, is that really honest? So you may have to make 1 or 2 of these before you get the gist of it. But I guarantee you, once there is a moment where you are so aha, where it's like, woohoo, you got it. Okay, so we've now made our jig. What have we done so far? I cut a base for my back. I cut a window for my front. And I'm now going to cut 2 sides. I need to cut this die twice. That's it. I just need to cut it twice. I don't need to flip it. I don't need to rotate it. I don't need to turn it. I don't need to do anything but cut it twice. So I am going to grab a piece of red paper. Here's my second sheet of 8.5 by 11. My first sheet was out of the yellow. My second sheet is out of the red. So 2 sheets of paper to make 1 box. I'll probably need to cut that down, but that's okay. We'll get that into a minute. All right, so I'm going to cut this as is, all that washi tape included. Bring over my machine. I've got my my multi-purpose platform or my magnetic platform down, completely closed. I've got a cut plate, and you can see that it's been cut into. I've got my paper, I've got my die, and because I'm just doing cardstock, I can do it at a slight angle so it feeds through my machine a little easier without making a big thump. If I was using patterned paper and I wanted to be very specific about what I cut it, then you're gonna move it to where you wanna cut. But since this is all red, I'm good to go. And I'm gonna send it on through my machine. Now, because I've got intricate dies in here that are gonna cut little slats and add little perforations, I'm gonna run it through back and forth. I don't have to do a rotate, but I am gonna run it through back and forth just to give it that little extra help. I didn't tape the die down in place. And what do I get when I'm all done? Bam. There are my little holes. Do you see the little perforations right here and right here? Those were from the first two dies that we put in, and then we put that big insert. And again, I'm not gonna get rid of all that washi tape. I'm gonna let this die stay like this until that washi tape starts to fall off, and then I'll retape it together again. You don't wanna take it apart every time you use it and put it back together again. You just cut yourself out about 5 steps, 6 steps, making your life a little easier. Now I need to cut this twice because I've got 2 sides that come out. So I'm gonna cut it one more time with my second sheet. The rest of my 8.5 by 11 paper. Is it too wide? Oh, I think I'm okay. Oh, somebody's got some loud music playing. Whew. Okay. So let's go through. Can you guys hear that? All right, let's go through once, and then I'm just gonna roll it back a second time. And again, these are, this is a Sizzix Big Shot machine. You can use these dies with obviously a Spellbinders Platinum, a Platinum 8, a Big Shot, a Big Kick, a Vagabond, a Grand Caliber, a Gemini, I don't know if you can get it through a Cuttlebug or not. I think you probably could, well, no, this one may be too big for a Cuttlebug. All right, let's pop this on out. Okay. I've got my 2 sides. There we go. 2 of the same. And my longest slat is closest to my shortest side. So I'm gonna put those just right there in front of me. Easy peasy, right there in front of me. And then, like a book, I'm gonna open it up. Ready? 1, 2, 3, like a book. There we go. See? Closed. Slats all line up. Lay it down. Open it like a book. And that's gonna give me my left and right side that's going to come out. Oh, he left, the music left. Gosh, and I was about ready to just start jamming away with it and going. You just never know what you're gonna get with the SMS YouTube, are you? Now, this is where those perforations come in, and they're so important. You've got one all the way out to the side, all the way in the middle, and then one right here. I need these pieces of paper to open like a book so that you have small, medium, large, large, medium, small. And the way to remember that is, okay, I guess to me, I looked at it and I said, oh, that's how I know my phone has reception. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? If you've got it where your lines are coming down and going up, well, I don't know what reception you've got, but you're not getting it on your phone. Or if you've got it where all your lines are coming down, again, not where you want. I want you to look at them, and I want it to, when it's facing you, to go small, medium, large, large, medium, small. Can you hear me now? It needs to make that nice little arc. Nice little arc. They have to be that. And that is why when you cut it the same, you cut the same, you just put them together and you open it up like a book. And automatically you have, can you hear me now? If your largest line is closest to your biggest portion of the die, you have it wrong and you'll need to recut. But if you just remember that largest piece stays closest to the small, the largest slat goes closest to the smallest piece, you're going to be just fine. And can you hear me now? So I've got my perforated lines here, and this is easy peasy. I'm going to go zig. So I'm going to go zig and zig one of them. So I've zigged on the perforated line furthest out, and then I'm going to go zag and come back. So all I did was go zigzag. So I'm going to go zig, and then I'm going to go zag. So all you're doing is zigzagging. See, if I straighten it out, my lines are still, can you hear me now? They're still going in order the way I need them, but I've done a zigzag. And there is where your window, where your curtains or your wings meet to open up. What have I done so far? I've used a piece of yellow paper to cut a back in a window and a piece of red paper to make some wings that zig and zag. Right on those perforation lines. Perforation line right there. Zig, zag. Perforation line right there. Zig, zag. And then you're good. So I can move these two off to the side because I still have 2 more dies left that I need to use. I need to use this long one, which is where those perforated little dies were that I put in here on either side. Remember? They were stuck right in the middle of this one, but they really don't have anything to do with this. I need to use this one still, and I need to use this one. That just leaves you a little banner and a little word that says pull. So what do I do with these two? Easy peasy. At your preference, if you want, you can absolutely use this one to put a little pull tab, a little place for your thumb to go in and pull what's behind it. Now, how does this die work? Again, very, very simple. You just line it up. The key about this die is that this metal piece right here never actually touches the paper at all, ever. The only thing that touches the paper is the little indent. You guys have notchy tools. You could just use a notchy tool if you would prefer to, if you've got a notchy punch. But you can see she's put a little arrow there telling you, hey, it's got to go to the edge of the paper. Put that little bar to the edge of the paper. So let's bring over my die cutting machine. Now, mind you, they only gave you 1 pull, so you're gonna have to, or 1 notch. You're gonna have to cut it twice. And I'm just gonna eyeball it. And send it on through so that I get my notch. So the last 2 dies I'm working with are really the dies that, that don't require anything extra to them. You're just die cutting with them. And then I'm gonna move this over and let's put that all the way to the end. And let's cut my second little notch. Oh, wants to pull. Oh, okay, we'll move you that way if that's the way you want to go. All right, and let's send it on through. Now, I could have put those notches in at the very beginning. I could do them the very last thing I do before I try to put my whole piece together. It's really up to you. And truly, once it slides and it's open, that's when the creativity starts. That's where the directions stop and the oh, what can I do with this and how can I embellish it and what can I add to it? That's where it begins. So you're giving up a little bit of creativity to make the base, and then you're allowed to let your mind and your, oh boy, those are really off. But I'm not recutting it. Then you're allowed to let your mind and your heart and your imagination go wild. Okay, so I've got this and this with that and with that. So far, that's all I've used. Easy peasy for the front and the back. We're talking about 3 dies. Now the last die I have to work with is this. And you're like, well, what does that do? That's what ties everything together. It's what makes all the magic happen. Who would think that something as small as this is what's going to make the magic happen? And if you can see, there's a couple little score lines right there. There's one right there, and there's one down here. There's one on each edge. Those little score lines are not meant for you to score anything with. You're not going to fold a thing. Those are your guides as to where to put your adhesive. So let's cut 2 of these, and I'm actually going to cut those out of even a different color paper. So what did I do? Yeah, let's do some blue. Now, Spellbinders and Becca recommend that you just use one of these on each side of your box. I'm going to say do 2 of them. So I'm going to cut 2 of them at the exact same time. So I'm going to need a total of 4 because I want 2 on each side. And these are the guides. These are what allow your little window, curtain, shutters, wings, whatever you want to call them, to open and close without coming all the way out. So easy peasy. You can't ask for a much easier die to cut. Lay it down, put it in, send it through. Again, I'm working with 100-pound cardstock, which I found to be a little, well, it's much nicer than an 80-pound. Can you use an 80-pound cardstock to do this? Yes, but I think that you'll find that it wiggles and wobbles a little bit when it's all put together. It's a little thin. Extra heavy pattern paper will work. Oh, is it gonna come out? Yes, good enough. All right, and now let's cut 2 more. And send it on through for a total of 4. Front, and because I'm cutting through 2 pieces of 100-pound cardstock, I'm just going to go back. And there we go. Done. So we've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dies. And now we're going to use 6 pieces of tape. And that's it, just 6 pieces of tape to put together our box. If you've got 2 sheets of 8.5 by 11 paper and 6 pieces of tape, you've got this. So as I'm building my box, or my window, or my 3-dimensional slider box, I'm going to start from the top and work backwards, or the bottom, the top, because this is the front. I'm going to work from the front and work up. So I'm going to lay my first piece down that has the window. First piece down that has the window, because that's the very front of my card. Then I'm going to come in and I'm gonna lay down my wings. And remember, when I opened them, when I had them like this, we cut them like this, so they were exactly the same. We opened them like a book. We did a zig and then a zag on the perforated lines, a zig and then a zag on the perforated lines. And now we're going to center them on the front of our window, because that's what's going to make what opens and closes. So let me get those centered. And this is where our little support pieces come in. They may not look like much of anything. They're not some pretty frilly die that makes your heart go pitter patter, but what they do, they are the glue that keeps this thing together. These are what you put here so that when you pull your tab, your whole wing doesn't come out. And what's important to know is, remember, there were these little score lines, these little indent lines in them. That is how you know how far to put your adhesive down. So let me grab my Stacy tape. You don't want to put your adhesive past those little lines, because you won't be able to move your wings anymore. And I can see them and I can feel them, and I'm just going to put my Stacy tape right there. So a little piece of double stick tape, and you're like, oh, but you went outside of it. That's okay. It's double stick tape. All you have to do is fold it in onto itself and you're good to go. So let me do one. And my second one, two. Keeping that tape not going down any further than that score line is. She's put that there for you. I'm guessing that there was a reason she put that in. Maybe when she was designing it, she put too much glue every now and then, and said, it'd be nice to know where not to go down too low. And then I'm just gonna layer them right over the top of, and I'm gonna leave a little space. So there's my first one. And can you see I didn't tape it right to my red little tab right here. I left a little bit. You can see that yellow. A little bit there. Now, they say just to do one per side. We have found that doing two per side is a little bit better. It gives a little bit more support. You are working with just paper here. So let me do the other side. And I guess that's the beauty of this. Did I get this right the first time I put it together? Absolutely not. Did I get it right the second time I put it together? I was really, really close. And by the third time, it was like, light bulb moment. So if you are willing to give yourself, some icky paper that you don't want to use anymore, or that came in a kit that you would have never used in the first place, and about 20 minutes of your time die cutting, you will find that you will have that light bulb moment by you just follow the directions. This isn't one where you can kind of willy-nilly it and throw your own little spin on how to put it together. There may be a different way than I'm doing, and that's why, so this one I'm gonna put next to it. I'm not gonna layer it. This is my second support. I'm not gonna put it side by side. I'm not gonna butt it up. I'm going to overlap, I'm gonna overlap it. So let me put the tape on the bottom of it. Becca she obviously had a thought process in her head on how to put these together when she designed it. But her thought process and my thought process could be completely different thought processes. So take the best from both. Take her tips and tricks that work for you, and take my tips and tricks that work for you, and then make them your own. So one down, and then one down. Now I'm doing this really slow so you see everything, but when we get done, I'm going to put one together in the time frame, the speed that I would normally do it. And then you can see that it's not an hour-long process to put these together. It's an hour-long process to teach a class how to put these together. It's actually probably a 2-hour-long process. We'll see when I'm done. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to line them up again. They're all nice and lined up pretty. And when I say lined up, I mean my reds are all, they're not askew. They're not like that. They're all lined up pretty. Put them together. And then I'm going to put my last little guide right on. And I'm overlapping. So I used 1, 2, 3, 4, oh, I guess more than 6 pieces of tape. All right, so 4, 8, how about 10 pieces of tape? Okay, maybe not 6, maybe 10, but only because I did 2 here, 2 on each side. If I had only done 1 guide and 1 support, it would have been less. Now, I'm ready to put my back on. I'm ready to close this on up. I'm ready to make it something special. How do I want to do that? That's where your last 2 pieces of tape come in. And I've got a piece of tape there. And a piece of tape here. Now these I am trimming. These I'm not going to let stay longer than they need to be. I want them to kind of be trimmed down to a size that is closer to what I'm working with in the width of this. I line everything on up, make everything look happy, and then I'm just going to take my tape and pull the liner back just a little bit, just a peek, and kind of fold it and score it right there. And I'm going to line this one, pull this one back, just a peek, and kind of score it right there. Why did I do that? Well, because that gives me the opportunity to line up my backing without totally committing that it's going to be down. So I need to go corner to corner. So if I push these down, they're all lined up. I need to go yellow corner to yellow corner. All I'm doing is lining up yellow corner to yellow corner. And when I'm comfortable with that, I can press down. And then I can go back in and grab, see, then I can go back in and grab that tab that I made and pull so that my liner comes off the rest. So let's do that to both of them. Pull my liner, and finish just lining up my corners. So all I gotta do is line up my, press it down. Done. Oh, I know that was a lot to get there. I hear you. I hear you, but it's done. It's by taking the time to do things like this before you even start that will allow you to now just blow right through it. So let's just do another one super quick. And I'm not going to go through the extra long explanation of everything. We've already got our jig all built. We're not going to take it apart. And let me grab some paper and let's do, how about, here's 1 sheet of cardstock. Oh, I don't want to lose that. 1 sheet of cardstock in pink, and we'll do, first things first, we'll do our back. Bring my machine over. Put it on down. Put my die on it. Doesn't have to be centered. I'm just cutting cardstock. Send it on through. It's a one cut die. It's an open frame die. Little creaks and cracks are not a big deal. Okay, one. Then I'm going to take my second piece of cardstock. And we're just going to whip right through this. Chop, chop, as I say. Think long, think wrong. And because I've made my little guides in my little black marks, I can line up my window to see what I'm doing. That looks pretty okay. I'm going to go with it. Send it on through. Okay. Bam, there's my window, easy peasy. Now if I want, I can take my little notchy guide and let's just do him right now. Line up my notch so that the bar is off the paper and the only thing on the paper is the actual notch. And let's send it on through. And then let's take our second and kind of line it up. I wish I could stand up over the top of it. I'd be better at lining it up, but no can do. And put this through. So far, nothing challenging, right? All feeling pretty good about this? I haven't done anything that you haven't done or seen before unless you're brand new. And then welcome to crafting. It's so much fun. Okay, my back and my front. Now, let's take our little pre-rigged die so that we only have to cut it twice. Let's get a piece of, yellow paper. So the reason I say that you only need 2 pieces of 8.5 by 11 is because I could take, I'm doing them in all different colors so you can see it when I build it, but I could take and also die cut out my, what did we get? Holy smokes. I could die cut out my, my little stabilizer, my little support out of the paper too. I'm choosing to use 3 colors so that when I build it, you can follow along better. All right. In we go. I just have to cut this twice. I don't have to rotate it. I don't have to turn it. I don't have to flip it. I'm just gonna cut 2 of the exact same piece. Okay. There's 1. And let me pop out my little doodads. And let's cut it one more time. So this is not sped up. This is me as fast as I can go. So far, I haven't had to cut anything twice. I've done good so far, but you just never know. And it's reality. It's what happens when we're crafting. We get busy. We think we know the way it's supposed to go. We think we've put our card on right. We think we've put the embellishment or matted the picture correctly for our scrapbook layout. And then all of a sudden we realized, oops, nope, not so much. Okay, so 2 of these. Exactly the same, with the long opening next to the shortest part of the die. Don't want your long opening all the way over here. No, that's wrong. So I've got them sitting on top of each other. I'm gonna open it like a book. Just open it like a book. And then I'm gonna do a zig and I'm gonna do a zag. So I've got perforated lines on either side of my openings. So I'm gonna do a zig, and then I'm gonna do a zag. So fold into and then fold out of. Ta-da! Do a zig. Oh, we got more. And then a zag. Right? My lines are, can you hear me now? You've got your lines all in a row. Small, medium, large, large, medium, small. Can you hear me now? Because if they're like this, I can't hear you. And if they're like this, I can't, well, now it's facing you and they'd be correct, but can't hear you. And if your largest opening is closest to your largest piece of the paper, it's also not going to be correct. So took them both, lined them up, opened them like a book, did a zig and then a zag on the fold lines. A zig, then a zag on the fold lines. All right. Then we can cut our little supports. Put those right there. And you can do one set of supports or you can do 2. It's entirely up to you. I'm just, better, to me it's better safe than sorry. Add 2 of them and that way when whoever gets it, slides it open, it's gonna stay the way it's supposed to be. Someone was giving me trouble. Let's see if I do it one more time. Yeah, that one's not popping as much as it should. I wonder if it's time for a new machine. Nah, make it work, Stacy. Nobody's gonna see it anyway, right? So just pop it on out and make it work. Come on, come on, come on. And then let's score it and let's pop it on out. Make it work. All right, good enough. My first one came out lovely. Ta-da! So 1, 2, and then I'm gonna do them one more time. So you could just do 1 sheet of paper at a time and you would not have that. Of course, you also may have a machine that doesn't have I must have a little spot where it's not hitting it. So I'm gonna try it on a different angle this time and see if I get a better result. 1, 2. Let's see if it's any better. No. First one came out great. Oh, second one's better. Yeah, better. Oh, definitely better. Without question, better. Okay. I just ran it through at a slightly different angle. So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 1, 2, and 1, 2. And that's all I'm gonna need to put it together. That's it. I know looking at this, you might go, I can never do that. Looking at this, you say, I totally can do that. So we're gonna start with the window, face down. We're gonna do our little open and close shutter. We're gonna take our little strips that have those little score lines in them so you know where to put the adhesive. One. Pull it off, fold it back because it's double stick tape. You just don't want to go lower than that score line. I would not necessarily use a liquid glue. That's going to take quite some time for it to dry. Well, if you have the patience, you can. I don't have the patience. I want to get it on there. It's hard enough for me already to follow the directions. Well, or at least to understand the directions. And then I took it and made it my way. I added my little zig and zag and can you hear me now, just to kind of help you remember. Okay, there's one. Remember, there's that little score line at the bottom. Just want your adhesive. One. I think it takes me longer to put the tape on than anything else. Two. I'm going to lay it right over the top of this one. I'm going to kind of overlap it a little bit. So one side done. One. Two. And please remember that not all double-sided tape is the same. It really isn't. Move that down. It really isn't all, or maybe I needed to move it up. It isn't all the same. There's several brands that are excellent. Of course, I think my brand is great. But you also know that Score which is Sukwang tape, which is what I started using. That's what I started with in my very beginning. That's an excellent tape as well, as is Elizabeth Crafts. If you're getting it from the Dollar Tree, not all tapes or the dollar store, not all adhesive is the same. And you need an adhesive that's going to hold these in place. These can't go weebly wobbly. Otherwise your slider box will fall down. So I've got one. You may be able to use the more inexpensive tape if you're just putting down paper onto paper, if you're making mats or if you're making a layout of some sort. But when you're building something that's interactive, you want to use something that's strong and stable. And I know that my tape is a little bit stronger than most out there, and my liner is a little bit thicker, making it easier for you to take off. So, but I don't want you to think you have to run out and buy Stacy tape. You don't. If you've got Score or Sukwang tape, and it says Sukwang, all on the label, or if you've got Elsa's tape, Elizabeth Crafts, you're going to be fine. Okay. Now all we have to do, the last thing we have to do is put it together. So, last two pieces of tape. One, I'm going to put that one more centered. One there. And, well, I'm just putting the tape on so I don't have to worry. And one there. I'm going to take and pull down a little bit of that liner, so, and score it back. And I'm going to take and pull down a little bit of that liner and score it back. That way I'm not exposing all of the adhesive at one time. So I've got a little bit of playroom if for some reason I don't line up my back. This is my back piece, and I'm just going to push these down, and I'm just going to go corner to corner. Corner to corner. And then I can go underneath it and pull the rest of that off. and put it down and pull the rest of that off and put it down. And I've made my box. Easy peasy mac and cheesy. But now you have to decorate them. And you want to give a good score to them. You want to decorate them now. And that's where the rest of her dies come in. This is where the follow the directions, do it this way, put it together and build it. This is how you do it. This is where all of that stops and all of your imagination begins. We've brought in, she has more dies than we've brought in. We've just brought in 3 of the coordinating dies to go with it that will build the inside. And this is when you get to understand what those slats are for. Why do I need those slats? I don't understand. This is where these dies come in. This is that little bicycle die. And this piece, it is this piece here and this piece here that make everything work to slide in. So these 2 pieces are 2 peas in a pod. They always work together. The only thing that changes between them is how much distance you put between them. There is a cut line around the little tabs, but not along the bottom. There's no cut line there. And here, there's no cut line around the top, but there's a cut line around the tabs and here at the bottom. This is what gives you what you're going to slide into your base to make all the pretty little things that go behind it. So let's just take a piece of, I've got a piece of blue paper here. And I'm going to cut 2 of them. So let's grab, just to make sure, let's grab the grass. Okay, so there and here. So I know these look a little odd, but this is how you line them up. You need it with the little feet. You're making a little dresser stand, a little nightstand. You need it with the feet at the bottom. I'm not making a box. We're not making a box. We're making a nightstand or a coffee table or an occasional table. And I need those feet to be at the bottom. Now I'm just going to cut this once so you see what it cuts. Don't need this much paper. Let me bring my machine over. Lay it down, make my little end table. This is the decorating part. So this doesn't have any, your box is all done. This is now so you get to decorate your box. And you can decorate your box with anything you have that you want to, especially if you have at least one of the coordinating sets that gives you these 2 little pieces. So what do I get? See, I told you I was going to do it backwards, and I did. Look at that. Okay, my little end table didn't work. I knew it would happen at some point. Let's do it again. Okay. Here and here. That's it. So forget our end table. See, I told you there'd come a point where I did it backwards, and I did. I need to go line to line. Gosh, what can we call that? I don't know. What do you think that is? You'll come up with a little word for it, a little something that it looks like to remind you. I need to go line to line. I knew there'd come a point where I did it wrong. That's okay. It's only paper. Let's cut it again. That's life. That's reality. Would you please, you know what? I should just put it on here and then line it up. All right, I'm going to put them right up two against each other. There we go. And let's try it this time. Let's see if I'm better with it this way. Waha! I got it. Now I just need to snip that out and that. And then cut this and cut this. Hello. Now that looks like a little sofa. Looks like a little couch. What does this do? This is what you put inside your slabs, inside your slats to add your different elements on. That's where you start building. But what's unique about this die is that it has other little pieces that will fit into it. Let me get a yellow piece, although maybe green would have been better, but what color is this? Oh, I can use this. So let's do this again. And let's take this die and let's take the little grass die. Do you see how little this grass die is? It's a little piece of grass. And it fits right in. Fits right in there. Can you see that there's like a little notch in there, and the grass die just fits right in there like that. So now all right, it'll be there. And now we take and we go back to back. Back to back. And let's put a little piece of paper over the top of it. And let's, oh, I don't want to cut into my cut plate. Let's flip it around. So there. There. And let's move that up a little bit. And there. So I'm back to back here. I've got my little grass die fit right into those little notches there. And let's see what we get. It's only paper. If I make a mistake, I'm just gonna do it again. And line it on up. Ooh. I really should put it on there first. And then line it on up. All right, I will bend to wherever my magnet is telling me it wants to go. All right, send it on through. See what we get. Oh, but that moved. Back, 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 back. All right, go that way. Awesome. Pop it on out. And then I popped my grass, I separated my grass on out, and now there's a little bit of a line in between here and in between there that I just need to snip. So by putting that grass in there, I've cut this down even further. Remember this one, I didn't put anything in there and it made a really big piece. This one I put my grass in there and it made a smaller piece. Can you see how you're gonna layer them together? And then this is going to slide I'm gonna put it right through my little slats in the front. So now I've got some grass going on. And what if I wanted to do the bicycle? So here's the bicycle. Ooh, and the bicycle is done the same way as the grass. So let me get rid of all of this and let's do a pink bicycle. So I don't need the grass anymore, but I always need these two dies. And as long as you have these two dies, you could put anything on top of them. You could use stickers, you could use chipboard, you could, whatever you want. This is the base that gives you the piece that's going to fit into those slats. And the reason why you've got different heights of slats is because you're able to move these, to separate them, to make them bigger. Let's cut a piece of paper off. And my bicycle, and let's bring my machine back. So now I've got my die. Don't want to cut into my do not cut plate. I've got my paper. I've got my die that has those little notches at the end. Up towards the top, my bicycle that has those little, that are gonna fit those little notches. Right there, I'm gonna slide it on down. And now, depending on how much space I want, I just separate. Let's say I want this one for the middle layer. Instead of it being right up against it, I'm gonna separate it and move it down just a little bit, making this a little bit taller, which means I'm gonna be able to fit it in through that center slot. And if I wanted it even taller to fit through the back slot, I would give myself even more room. It's entirely, let's see if that one will work. Let's see if that's too much or too little. Let's see if this will do the back one. Okay, cut plate, or do not cut plate on top. And let's send it on through. Oop, rotate it a little bit. Up, down, down, down. Over, over, over. Ooh, Stacy, too much, too much. It's only paper, I'm going with it. So roll it once. I've got a little bit of intricate. Now this is where you definitely could use your 80-pound paper without any problem because you're not building the structure of the card. Did that go all the way to the end there, guys? And let's send it on back. Let's see if I got it cut the first time. And that bicycle's a little more intricate. Pop off, pop off. Oh, it's so cute. Okay, so I need to snip. I just need to snip that little corner right there, so that this piece will release. And I need to snip that little, oh, this one's almost done. There we go, I could do that one with my hand. To get rid of that piece, And then, because I put so much separation between these, I need to snip from this one to that one. Zoop. Zoop. And it's released. It's freed. Okay, now I can bring this over and I can take and put this one in my back slot. So now I'm going to take it and put it all the way in the slot that's towards the back. I haven't put anything in my middle slot yet. So I have now started to build. The nice thing about having, the one, oh, no, not that one. The one that I did where I didn't do anything on it. Where did I put it? Did you all see what I did with it? No? Okay, well, let's do it again out of that blue. So the nice thing about having one, oh, is this it? Nope. Did I chuck it? Yes, yes I did. The nice thing about having one like this, where I didn't cut the grass or the bicycle out of it, is that you then can attach your own things to it. You can attach flowers, you can, whatever makes your heart happy, and then you can fit it in. Let's put that one back in there, and let's put this one in there. I'm wondering if that's gonna fit, if it's gonna be too tall for this one. Is it too tall for the medium? Oh, it's not too tall for the medium. Awesome sauce. Let's put this one on this side. There we go. Let's get my bicycle back where my bicycle's supposed to be. There we go. And now I have started to build. Oh, I can even put that one towards the back. Ooh, okay, so my blue one's really tall. So I'm gonna move my blue one to the back, and they just flip in. You just bend the paper and flip them in. So I'm gonna put my blue one towards the back. There it is. So I've got grass and blue, and I'm gonna put my bike in the middle. So all I'm doing is putting it through my little slot and then putting it through my little slot. Ta-da! And all I'm doing is building layers. And then you close it and you send it. And you open it and they go, oh, and you close it and you send it. And they open it and they go, oh. It really is. It's fun. It's interactive. It is far easier than I think even I gave it credit for. And it's doable with some paper. You've got this. I will tell you, they open and close better when they're down on something firm. When they're on something solid, they open and close better than just willy-nilly in the air. You've got this. And because I did that blue one in the back, I could have done that even taller. And then I could have taken some clouds and glued some little die cut clouds onto it. I could have detailed out my bicycle. Wait till you see the samples. I've got a die that goes around the front of this that will make that accent that up. There's tons to do. You just have to give yourself the opportunity to play. And the hardest thing to wrap your brain around, at least for me, was how to put this together so it opens and it closes. Now, the one thing I want to tell you is on your first layer, keep that as simple as you can. Do not pop anything out. Glue them straight down. Keep it as simple as you can. And you want to keep everything right in the center, because as it's opening and closing, you don't want it to get overly stuck. I have a beautiful sample that was done by Becca or somebody on her team. It is magnificent, truly magnificent. The only problem is opening and closing it is virtually impossible. Why? Because she's got little fussy cut doodads. There's fussy cut doodads here that are popped up that when I pull, it doesn't want to go through the slat. They get stuck. Can you see this one here? It's stuck. So you want them, I mean, it is beautiful. It really is. But you want them to be as easy and user-friendly to whomever you're giving it to. You don't want them to have to think about, oh, do I have to go into the back of it and get that piece through the slat so everything opens? When this opens, it's magnificent. Look at that. But even now, it's still sticking. There's still pieces that are stuck and it won't go through. Do not pop, but look at, you can embellish, absolutely. Just don't pop and keep that first row to a minimum. And then you will have no problems at all. I just did simple, easy, basic. Once you start playing, what you can do with it and how you can elevate it is beyond belief. And when you see some of the samples that I have for you, I think you are going to go, oh, are you kidding me? No, I am not kidding you. So what did we do today? Well, holy smokes, artichokes. We took this die and we made an interactive 3D sliding card. 3-dimensional. We learned how to layer things inside of it and how Becca's dies all work together, and you can mix and match inside the collection. We talked about how taking literally, let's see, 1, 2, 3, because we taped it all together to make it a solid die, 4 and 5 dies with a handful of pieces of tape give you something that is such a wow factor. And remember, I did double on the back. That's this one here. You don't have to, you can do single. I wouldn't do triple because that's going to it's going to not allow your window to open all the way. Remember, it can only go as far as that double, and that is why we overlapped them as opposed to putting them side by side. If we put them side by side, your window wouldn't even open, it would even open less, and I wanted to open all the way for you. So 5 dies, let's say 10 pieces of tape, and a moment of sheer when you're done. This is the package with the bow on it. This is the package with the bow on it. That when you open it up and they see it, it is just beautiful. This is what a 2-hour class takes, so that when you are doing it, it is a 10-minute put together. Now decorating it, decorating it is not 10 minutes, but putting the base together absolutely is. Go from here, just plain, to here, to here. You can do it. I know you can. If I can, you can. And you saw I made a mistake. You saw I made an oops. It's paper. Be kind to yourself. You deserve it. And whomever you're going to give it to is going to be so flabbergasted with what you've done. Now, there's not very much on a YouTube Yummy today, I'll tell you. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've got the base die. that's for sale. And these I don't think have actually released yet. We have got the bicycle that I was playing with, and look at all the extras that you get. There's tons. You get words, and everything fits inside this little mechanism that allows you to die cut. All the little extras to layer the bicycle with. So cute. We did the balloons and the birthday cake. And it says happy birthday. And yes, you can put that happy birthday inside that little jig and it will cut it out so your very last layer says happy birthday. Wait till you see the samples. And then we did some of the words that say just a hello, and gosh, now I forget what they are. Best wishes, just a hello. So you've got words to add to it. And again, we've got darling samples for you. Remember I told you I had a beautiful die that's going to do the fronts. A beautiful Becca die, look at all that. And then we made cards with using these dies without using the box at all. We just made beautiful cards out of these dies. And then last but not least, this is an accent die that Becca did. And my understanding is that this is going to fit lovely. If you wanted to do a gift card on the back, or a to and a from, this little accent die just puts the final touches on everything. So not only do you have an amazing front card, but when they turn it over, it's finished from start to finish. They have a to and a from or a gift card. So those are the YouTube Yummies for today. I know it's not much, but this really was about teaching you a class. And again, I love this card, I do. But they've got it built up so much with so many pop dots and so many little pieces that it's sticking. And you want to be careful of that. Now let me show you some of the cards that we've done. And we've kept them from very simple. Very simple. Isn't that so cute? So 1, 2. See, can you see the happy birthday behind there? And you've got the balloons and the cake. That's all that birthday and the cake and the balloons. That's all one die set. That gives you everything you need to do it. And then this is the front. That was the other die set. And then the base. Okay. And then this, look at how cute is this? Best wishes. With the little bicycle going. So cute. And again, it opens and it closes. And then we have happy, what is it? Happy travels. Look at how cute is this? Carry on. Done with pattern paper. And then I've got congratulations and a birthday. Well, happy anniversary actually, and the birthday cake. So they've used the cake and the balloons. Instead of birthday, they've done a happy anniversary. And it folds flat. And then it opens. Somebody is going to be completely wowed by what you have done. And again, 100-pound paper is better, thicker, heavier, more sturdy. So cute. Keep the ones in the front to a minimum and towards the center. You can see that we've got the flowers very much centered. That way it slides open and closed much easier. This one is just a hello. Remember I showed you just the words. There's just a hello. We've got 3 little tiny flowers on the front, the just a hello, and then we used pattern paper on the back and fussy cut out that little bird. Sure you can. Look at the windows. I want to say this is Minte paper. Look at the windows, and then you open it. Is that pretty fabulous? Better if you sit it down. It's sat down, it opens and closes much easier because paper will wibble and wobble. But you have to appreciate that. It's so cute. And here we have with the grass and the bicycle, and look at how, and the like the sky, the sun is shining out from Best Wishes. All three-dimensional. And here they just used the first and the last. And they've used Becca's die. Comes with this one to add some embellishment to the front. And here, again, the heavier, the more sturdy, the easier it is to open and close. The lighter the paper, a little bit harder that it is. So this one's got happy birthday all the way in the back. It's got balloons, and then it's got the cake. And that is a set all into itself, as the bicycle is a set all into itself. And then the Best Wishes and Surprise are a set all unto itself. Put the little flowers that come in one of the sets off to the side. You can do this, and then when it's all closed, flat, and you're ready to go. And again, what kid wouldn't like this? I don't know anybody who wouldn't like this. Really, I don't. Who doesn't like interactive and 3D and custom made just for them? You've got this. And then the last one for the boxes. How pretty is that, right? Claire did a lot of fussy cutting. I think Claire did this one. She did a lot of fussy cutting. So that really she used the just a hello from the words set, but then she used paper and fussy cutting little birdies and butterflies out of the paper. Okay, then we have some cards for you. And then the last three I'm going to show you are a wow factor. So here we just used the dies to make beautiful cards. So this die is on that set. And then you've got the happy birthday and the birthday cake out of the birthday set. And here we have the carry on with the bicycle, just as a great little card. Maybe you like the dies but don't want to do the box at all. How cute is this? Oh my gosh. See, I don't see the samples until you do. That way we are equally as surprised. How cute is this? And then my guess is that these were done by Becca's team because they've got the flowers and they're layered and they're all that. They, like I said, a little extra. Sending a hug. These are so cute. And here it is with the frame and the insert. That is a beautiful card, and it was made using this die. This looks like quintessential Becca Feeken. So if you're not into making the boxes, the dimensional boxes, no problem. Best Wishes, and Claire used the die. And she used the Best Wishes out of the word set. Happy birthday. So pretty. And I think we're the first ones to have them. I think I'm the first one to have them. I think I might be the first one to show them. There might have been some sneak peeks, but I don't know. I don't troll around too much to see what else everybody is doing. I'm busy. I got lots of things to do on my own. And then the last card. Again, just done with Becca's dies. This is a beautiful set. Beautiful set. But I love the three-dimensional box. I love how it works. Now, well, let's see how we do. Okay, so SMS girl Sarah and I were talking about these, and we came to the conclusion, we came to the conclusion that we're probably wrong, but we might be right. We thought that these reminded us very much of a puppet show, an old-fashioned puppet show. The box and how the curtains open and how the slides work. And I don't know if that was Becca's inspiration or not, but to Sarah and I, we thought it brought to mind a puppet show, an old-fashioned puppet show. So Sarah put 3 of these together. Are you ready? Because they are spectacular. I'm very, very lucky to have the staff that I have. Sarah put together a puppet show. She used glossy accents to make the seats, to give it looks like seats, and then she used sticks so that the individual little items could slide back and forth and make a move like an old-fashioned puppet show did. Right? Is that magic? Each one of them will move, and she's made several. So this is a circus one, like the bearded lady and the world's tallest man is in there. And I need to hold them together. He moves back and forth so that you can create your own little world, your own little puppet show. And then when your puppet show's all over, you can close it on up. So this is one. Then she kind of that was her first one. Then she kind of got the feel of how this works. And she went on to a few others. So this is her Disney themed Sleeping Beauty. When you open it up, you've got the backdrop, which is movable. You've got the dragon, which moves. And then in the front, you've got Sleeping Beauty. And the thing about them is that you can take them out. Let me take the backdrop out. She made a different backdrop that you can slide on in. Can you imagine making one of these for somebody, an adult, who would so appreciate the thought behind it? Now I've got a totally different backdrop to my Sleeping Beauty. And maybe I don't want the Sleeping Beauty that I have. Maybe I want my little fairies, and you put those through the front. And now you've got the dragon and my little fairies and the backdrop, and you play. Okay, I don't know if this is what Becca had in mind, but this is what we saw. And then she took graphic 45 paper. And again, you have to know, she made multiple things that you could make go in there to create. I mean, with the Sleeping Beauty, she has a dozen different sticks that you could put in there. You could tell the whole story of Sleeping Beauty through little slide puppets. You could do this with your kids. How much fun would that be? I want my kids to be little again. She took the graphic 45 paper and you close it up, and then you open it up. And she's got Dreamland in there. And again, everything moves. And you tell your story through the puppets. If that's not magical, if that's not inventive and creative and thoughtful and fun, she had the best time doing these. And she's got all of these little sticks, so that depending on what you're doing and who you're telling the story to, you just take one stick out and put the other one in. Maybe I want the moon up there. I can slide the moon on in behind. There's There's so much to be done. Well, it's upside. Is it upside? No, I've got it right. I want to make sure it wasn't upside down. Yeah, I've got it right. Okay. Sarah would kill me if it was upside down. You just interchange them and tell the magical story. Once upon a time. Once upon a time what? Can you imagine doing this for an adult who has a favorite themed, a favorite book, a favorite story, a favorite whatever, and putting this together for them? And I mean, you can download images online and then fussy cut them out and glue them down. I think it is such a personal gift and such an aha moment that whoever gets it is just going to be blown away, because I know I was. All right, and again, we started with just the basic little puppet show. I'm like, Sarah, do a puppet show. I want to see a puppet show, because I think that's what this is supposed to be. And when she brought this into work, because they do this on their own time at home, when she brought this into work and I saw how it moved, I just went, oh! She took it to such another level. I mean, even the backdrop is amazing. I hope Becca likes what we've done with her things. That would make my heart happy. All right, it's me, Stacy. It's been a long video, I know. But, wrong direction. But it was a class. If there ever has been a question in your mind, is she really teaching you something? I really am trying. And this was the time where, just like the cookies, you really need to follow the directions. You need to follow the steps. You need to give yourself, how many ingredients does chocolate chip cookies really have? Really? Not so many. And yet, if you don't do it properly, what you're left with is not a chocolate chip cookie. This took 2 sheets of paper, 5 dies, 10 pieces of tape, and you're done. Then you start to create. And then you throw the recipe away and you let your inner creativity and your inner spark come through on the decoration. Okay, where are you going to find all of this product? I have a feeling right now you're only going to find it at Scrapbooking Made Simple. I think we may have it first before anybody else. I don't even think Spellbinders has it yet. So if you love what I showed you and you love Becca and you're a Becca fan, come shop Scrapbooking Made Simple. These orders will be shipping within our normal standard time frame, and I hope you learned something today. And if not, I hope at least you were inspired to try something that maybe is a little outside your box, literally, you know? Okay, you guys, I will see you all next week. Thanks for being with me today. Bye.